Tolaka no Boken, Trucker's Adventure by Henry Michael Brown, Coqui-san. Chapter 1, Teleportation. There was knocking on the door, but no one answered. There was pounding on the door, and it shook. Doctor! There was banging on the door, and it burst open. Doctor! Colt entered inside. He was dressed in a business suit, a shirt, tie, and vest, under a trench coat with a fedora. Underneath his arms was a young man who breathed with the sound of a chainsaw and dragged across the ground. Doctor! Maddox, the young man said, dressed in unusual clothes. A white t-shirt, jeans, and a pair of sneakers, while his physical build was like a track runner with scruffy black hair. His legs put in a little more energy to stand up so Colt could walk him down the hallway up ahead. Evidence. It's all right, Yamamura. The first room was an empty waiting room. The evidence is in the truck. We'll get it later. You're the priority now. The waiting room light shined on Yamamura. The light source was a teal-colored metal sphere on a pedestal, mounted to the wall. It had neither flames, nor was it a light bulb. Doctor! Colt peeked inside another room when he heard a woman's voice. Over here, she said from the last room at the end of the hallway. Colt arrived, losing grip for a second, and pulled up the injured man back to his feet. Inside were two women. One of them sat on a chair by the desk, dressed in a professional outfit, a long skirt and blouse under a doctor's white coat with long red hair in a ponytail and gray eyes. The other woman sat on the clinic bed, dressed like an adventurer in a shirt with mini vest, denim shorts with an unseen sheath knife attached to its back, and mini boots. A sling was under the left arm, and a bandage wrapped around the head. She had lavender eyes, short jet black hair that draped down to the neck, and distinct mixed-race facial features that became obvious who she was. Bori Kenya, Colt said. Out here? May I help you? The doctor said. Colt reached for his wallet inside his coat and revealed his badge. It had his name, a black and white photo of his face, with his credentials and title, Private Detective Redina Casonia, written on it. Private Detective Colt Maddox. Are you the doctor? Yes, she nodded. Dr. Renee Lowen. The doctor stood to her feet, and Colt shifted his head up to her face. He was tempted to stand on his toes. I'm with a patient right now. Is this an emergency? Yes. Colt presented Yamamura, who breathed like a saw once again, his head slumped down, hiding his face. I don't know why he is breathing like this. Renee understood the situation and hurried to help Colt place Yamamura on the bed. Why didn't you take him to the hospital? Colt did not answer her. What's his name? Kenichi Yamamura. They approached the bed. The young Bori Kenya got off and stepped aside. Standing up straight, she was average height with an athletic physique. She saw Kenichi's outfit, but not his face, as Renee stood between her and the patient. What a weird outfit he's wearing. After placing Yamamura on the bed, Renee stepped back, realizing what the young woman said. Emma, you're right. That is weird. Colt's eyes shifted between the women when Kenichi's breathing grew worse. He checked the hallway where the entrance remained open with the night hours waiting outside. The detective closed the infirmary door, jolting the women, and he nodded. Okay. Detective, Renee said as she stepped back with Emma behind her, reaching for a staff in the corner. You should really take him to a hospital. Colt realized what she was reaching for and the fear in Emma's eyes. He took off his hat, revealing his short, light brown hair. With his hands up, showing no intent of harm, he approached Kenichi to check on him. I'm sorry to scare you both, but I can't take him to the hospital. Renee grabbed her staff and aimed it at him. Why? Colt placed his hand on Kenichi's chest. He's an Earthworlder. Renee lowered her staff. An Earthworlder? Wow! Emma said in Japanese, and Kenichi's eyes opened, hearing her response. How many years has he been on Teora? Not years. Colt turned to the woman. 2 months. Impossible, Renee said. He's too old to be an Earthworlder. Doctor, we don't have time. Please. Kenichi spoke in a strange language that Renee recognized as his hand reached out to her. He knows Hungarian? Yes, Doctor, Colt nodded. He's a special victim case and must live no matter what. Emma walked past everyone. Doctor,
I'll come back later.
Colt raised his hand up, stopping her. I'm sorry, young lady.
Emma Rosado.
Well, Miss Rosado, I can't let you leave. You saw him, and I need to keep this contained until he pulls through.
It's all right, Emma. Please do what he says.
Renee walked to her desk and took a stethoscope.
Detective, please sit Mr. Yamamura up. I won't tell anyone, really,
Emma said to Colt as he sat Kenichi up, who moaned in pain.
I just wanted my arm and head healed. Don't worry, Emma. We'll sort this issue later.
Renee wore the stethoscope and lifted the back of Kenichi's shirt.
I want you to take a deep breath.
She planted the stethoscope on his back. Emma leaned closer around the doctor for a better look at Kenichi's face. The shirt hid him as he took a long, deep breath.
This is not good,
Renee said.
It sounds like his lungs are fluttering. Lay him down.
Kenichi struggled to keep his eyes open as Colt helped him lay down again. Looking to the side, Emma stood frozen in place with her hand over her bandaged head and her left eye twitched. Ready for death with a smile, Kenichi tried to hear Colt speak to Renee. As news about what happened in Bahrain Forest in Marone reached here, Doctor?
Only rumors. The newspaper said they are waiting for more details at the moment before breaking the news. Why?
Emma's expression changed before Kenichi. Colt continued. He's the victim of an incident that could trigger. Colt and Renee's lips moved as Kenichi tried to listen. The only sound was his heartbeat. Renee raised her staff. It had a teal-colored metal orb, reminding him of the glowing light in the other room. It was gripped by 3 thick twigs curving around it like fingers. She stood it up in place. The orb glowed. A thin beam of light scanned over Kenichi's body. Once it finished, it created 2 small screens. It was like a computer floating in the air, but very old. It reminded him of the old computers of the 1970s, the thick fonts of the alien text, the blinking cursor, and the low-resolution screen. As she typed, the orb's light brightened again and forced him to move his head to the side, facing Emma once more, still frozen in place staring at him, and taking long, deep breaths. His eyebrows lowered as if he tried to understand who she was, but darkness veiled his sight. The memory shifted to the past. It was at a convention where he was surrounded by people passing by. A crowd parted way, revealing a young woman dressed in a kimono with cat ears and tail. She had long black hair with a smile that made him believe the angels sent her just to him. His lungs struggled to inhale as the sound of his heartbeat thrust him into another memory. A simple old gray truck was at a shipment warehouse when the right door to the driver's seat opened. A motorcycle pulled up with a woman riding it. Removing her helmet, she revealed herself as the one Kenichi met at the convention. The sound of a heartbeat that came from his smile, except what he felt was the pain it endured from his erratic breathing. A familiar beeping sound echoed with each breath he took, with each beating of his heart. The heart monitor bounced 1 cycle at a time. Kenichi sat on the bed, holding that same young woman to his chest and embrace. In her ears was his whispers that made her give the smile that he always believed the angels sent just for him, and she closed her eyes. Slipping from his fingers, their rings tapped one last time. The sound of a ping pulled Kenichi away. Kenichi's vision fought one last time to stay open. He saw Emma sitting down nearby, clutching her bandaged head. His memory flashed to when he stood before his tombstone with the bright sun shining over it. The hand of his son held while carrying his small daughter with his other arm. Everything went black, and he heard his last thoughts. Fumiko, the last thing I remembered before coming here was this. May 2010. The ocean waves crashed onto the beaches of Atlantic City. The seagulls flew under the warm spring sky toward the casino hotels that reached out high. It was a holiday weekend that marked the start of the vacation months in America. The people swam in the water while others played on the beach like volleyball or made sandcastles. Children ran across the sand throwing a beach ball around. On the boardwalk was a line of people. They waited by the door of the famed convention center called Boardwalk Hall with signs along the wall that read World Arm Wrestling Championship. Inside, the audience cheered from their seats, and cameras tracked the last 2 competitors at center stage. 2 men stood at opposite corners, rubbing their hands in a bowl of talcum powder while dressed in t-shirts and jeans. The commentator spoke. The referees received the strap and are ready to resume the match. Now it will be difficult for Danny McCree and Kenichi Yamamura's hands to slip free. Kenichi stared at his aging hands. There was tension in his muscle, and the cracking in his knuckles. The reflection from the talcum bowl exposed streaks of white hair forming alongside his black hair. A young woman yelled from the crowd,
"You can do it, Dad!"
Kenichi scanned the crowd and spotted his daughter waving at him with her older brother by her side. He nodded at them, and the referee called to him, "It's time. Give me your hand." Kenichi approached the arm wrestling table, with Danny snarling from the other side. They placed their elbows on a cushion. The referee tied their hands with a leather strap. Their fingers clasped. They tightened their grip, and their muscles bulged. They placed their freed hands on 2 vertical rods for momentum and safety. Kenichi's eyes locked onto Danny's as sweat trickled down the side of his face, waiting for the referee. "Don't be intimidated, father," his son threw his fist in the air. "You can win this."
"Satoshi,"
the woman said.
"Dad looks tired."
"I know, Ichigo." Satoshi leaned closer to his younger sister to fight the loudness of the crowd. "He just needs to control his breathing like we trained him." The camera showed a red semi-truck with a single black striped decal along the sides. It had a roof fairing, long hood, and a sleeper cab with windows. The commentator said, "Will Yamamura's journey from the Japan Nationals in Tokyo end with a second title? At 40 years old, Yamamura has overcome his underdog status as the oldest wrestler in this tournament. He showed the crowd why he is in the finals. Or will the young lion McCree teach an old dog has his limits and claim his 3rd straight title?" The cedar-built 450 Palisade semi-truck with its state-of-the-art 70-inch sleeper cab and $250,000 are within reach. The referee placed his hands on the leather strap to check for any premature movement. They were still, and he removed his hand. "Start!" The wrestlers pushed their hands into each other. Kenichi leaned his body to the right to put more strength into his arm. He roared as Denny crouched, pushing Kenichi's arm to the cushion. Kenichi gained momentum and pushed his arm back to the starting position. His heart pounded and his strength overwhelmed his breathing. The lungs burned for a moment. He could not exhale. The muscles wavered. His elbow shifted and was pushed down again. With his body angled, his lungs felt like a rock was removed from them, and he could lift his chest up. He exhaled, and his muscle strength returned with an inhale. Now he regained the momentum he lost and pushed Danny to the other side of the table. Danny roared as he pushed hard to stop Kenichi, but his hand drew closer to the cushion. He stopped Kenichi and his eyes widened. Kenichi's stare was muted. It was as if there was nothing around him, no aura, no energy. Danny put more energy into his wrist. It felt like he pushed into a solid wall. The referee leaned close to their hands. Danny's knuckles were close to the cushion. Everything went silent as Kenichi raised his opponent's hand and slammed it. "Down!" The referee raised Kenichi's left arm into the air. The crowd roared, and the announcer yelled, "Kenichi Yamamura finished it off! We have a new champion!" Danny raised Kenichi's arm in sportsmanship. Satoshi and Ichigo ran onto the stage and gave their father a hug. His hand freed from the strap, he hugged them and raised his fist into the air. The audience's cameras flashed from the stands above as the dark ceiling reflected each light. June 2010. Flashes of light flickered in the clouds above as it swallowed the night sky and hit the moon. The red semi-truck had just been lowered onto the Japanese docks. The cargo touched the street and the dock workers removed the crane harnesses. Kenichi, dressed in his white t-shirt and jeans, crossed his arms and smiled. Thunder softly echoed in the distance, but it was the sound of footsteps from behind that got his attention. A young man holding documents approached him. "Mr. Yamamura, here's your copy of the custom papers. You are free to take your truck." "Thank you," Kenichi said with a light bow. He read through the paperwork with stamps of approval on each page. As he walked towards an old gray truck, which had a small sleeper cab, there was a man his age, dressed in a jacket and jeans, waiting for him. "Daigo, I got the paperwork. Here are the keys to Old Gray." "Thank you." Daigo received the keys. "I finally have my own truck." Kenichi opened the door on the right side, where the driver's seat was, so he could remove his personal items. "Ken," Daigo looked at the price. "That is a beautiful truck." Kenichi climbed inside and took out a pair of travel bags. "She sure is. I can't wait to drive her again." Kenichi handed his travel bags to Daigo and reached for a large toolbox and a tool belt. "Are you going to remodel the sleeper cab?" Kenichi climbed down and nodded. "Of course. Once I make a little money for this side job. Mrs. Higashi has a door that needs replacement. This time, I remembered my power drill. You know, she is going to have you fix your whole house. She's elderly, Kenichi walked Daigo to the new truck. It's the least I could do since she helped me with the kids growing up. Also, I get free food. Kenichi and Daigo stood before the red truck. He opened the driver's door on the left side. The ceiling light turned on. He placed his carry-on bags on the floor of the sleeper cab, bumping into a girl's hoodie jacket on the floor. The trucker smiled at it, then climbed down. Go on in. Pardon the mess. The kids celebrated inside. Okay. Daigo climbed inside and sat on the driver's seat. It felt weird with the steering wheel on the left side instead of the right. The dashboard had the standard gauges and switches, as well as the standard radio and a CB radio. Before the passenger seat was a glove compartment. He entered the sleeper cab. It was taller on the inside. He was able to stand up. There was a small table with 2 single cushioned seats opposite each other. Embedded in the walls were a mini closet, a small filing cabinet, a low-level compartment for toolboxes or equipment, a mini refrigerator, a small flat-screen television with USB ports plus radio settings, an air conditioner and heating system, and a microwave with the time blinking on 12 o'clock. Amazing. It's so big. Where's the bed? Here. Kenichi made his way inside. He folded the table into the wall and secured it. Next, he slid the seats towards each other, where both single cushions stretched out, forming a single bed. Finally, he pulled on a pair of bars that stretched out on an upper tier bed and unfolded the attached stepladder. It's like a house. Daigo sat on the lower bed as Kenichi returned to the driver's seat. On the dashboard was a state-of-the-art computer screen with a dashboard camera and an expansion dock for smartphones. Daigo stepped out of the cab and sat in the passenger seat. Is this the new touchscreen console I heard about? Yeah, try this. He handed his smartphone. Place that in the dock. Like this? Daigo inserted the phone in the expansion dock. It turned itself and the computer on. A female spoke in from the phone.
Interface connected.
The face of a teenage girl appeared on the monitor, causing Daigo to lean back. She had long lavender hair with pink highlights that covered the sides of her head and cat ears on top that twitched, with ruby red eyes. She stepped back, revealing her long-sleeved, turtleneck one-piece white and lavender mini dress swaying side to side. Her cat tail peeked from behind. Small white and lavender gloves and white and lavender mini boots completed her outfit. Kenichi cracked an awkward smile and planted his hand on the back of his head. Ichigo found out that the app had an avatar feature, so she made one. Cat girl? She always loved cats and cat girl art. Now she's happy she can own one since she doesn't have to worry about Satoshi's allergies. You don't have to keep the avatar. True, but my daughter made this, and this may be the last time I have my little girl's drawings. She's so far away now. Daigo nodded. I understand. So, this is the new voice command app that's coming out next year. They included this update for my console as part of the prize. Her name is Red. Watch. Kenichi cleared his throat. Red, map.
Map odd.
She said, and the screen switched to an image of the map on the computer screen. Go ahead. Touch the screen. Daigo placed his finger on the screen, and the map slid to the side. Wow. Just like on the smartphone. Do you have everything available? It has language translation, GPS tracking, internet, and dash cam recording. It can even monitor the truck's condition with more detail from fuel to battery life. As long as Red is connected to the computer, I don't have to turn on the truck to access anything. With a larger screen, I can finally see the chart map app you gave me without squinting. No fair. I want this truck instead of Old Gray. Sorry, Kenichi said as Daigo exited the truck. You'll have to beat me in arm wrestling if you want it. No. I don't want my arm broken again. Kenichi and Daigo walked back to Old Gray. Once we're on the road, I want to stop at the gas station nearby so we can fill up the tank. I want to return to the shipping depot without stopping. Understood. They moved a lot of items from Old Gray to the new truck, including a long object covered in a dark blue cloth, 3 cases of bottled water, and a box of instant ramen for the office. Inside the glove compartment, he took out 2 walkie-talkies and a pair of sunglasses. Kenichi pulled down the visor in the driver's seat. Hanging from it was a picture of his wife with their son Satoshi at 4 and their daughter Ichigo at 2. Thunder rumbled in the distance. It did not interrupt his thoughts of his wife. He looked over to the passenger seat. Empty as it was, she sat there with that smile he loved so much. Her platinum heart-shaped necklace with a blue stone on it swayed side to side on a hook attached to the windshield. Fumiko, thank you so much. Kenichi took the necklace and looked at his old truck one last time. He closed his eyes, taking a deep breath. Climbing down, Daigo waited with a light smile. Are you okay? Just got a little lonelier now. With Ichigo in college, have you considered trying to date again? No, I tried and I don't have that spark anymore. Fumiko was enough. Another sound of thunder rumbled in the distance. Both men looked at the clouds where the flickers of light were brighter than before. Set your radio to channel 12. We'll keep in touch with dispatchers at all times. Understood. Daigo turned around just as Kenichi reached into his pocket for his smartphone. Wait, before we go, I have to send my children a photo of the new truck. Sure. Daigo took the smartphone. He aimed it at Kenichi while he made a peace sign with his fingers for the camera and took the picture. There you go. Thank you. Kenichi sent his photo via text to Satoshi and Ichigo. I hope Ichigo is not in class. It's a 14-hour difference in Princeton. What happened? She hates it when I text her during class. It disrupts the professor. Now Satoshi, eh? Ichigo replied in English.
Hooray, champion! Enjoy your new truck, Dad. Also, is my hoodie in the new truck? I can't find it here.
Kenichi texted back and received a signal from the security guard to leave the premises. He never hit send. I'll have to answer her later. Let's go. See you on the road. Daigo walked away and raindrops started falling. Kenichi climbed inside his new truck and hung Fumiko's necklace on the hook attached to the windshield. He smiled. One last ride home. Inside the travel bag was a long black box. Taking it, he caressed the surface looking at Fumiko's necklace. With a nod, he turned the ignition and the truck's lights turned on. Driving off, the clouds above flashed bursts of light within, bright enough to look like something lived inside it. Thunder rumbled louder. After fueling, the truckers were on the road. Kenichi led Daigo through the streets. They entered the highway when the rain got worse. There was no exit nearby and traffic was light. An hour into the highway, the clouds darkened the sky further. It was blinding. The GPS showed a truck stop across the upcoming bridge. He grabbed the CB radio's microphone and spoke to Daigo. There's a truck stop just across the bridge. We're going to stop there for the night. This rain is too dangerous to cross the mountains. Understood, Daigo said, struggling to see ahead. He overheard Kenichi call dispatch on Channel 12, telling them of their situation. Dispatch, this is Kenichi informing you that Daigo and I are going to be staying overnight at a truck stop. The storm is too blinding for us and it's too dangerous to cross over the mountains. We'll arrive in the morning. Over. Dispatch replied. Understood, sir. Drive safe. Over. The rain splashed onto Kenichi's windshield like a wave. The wind howled like a ghost. He growled at the lack of visibility until Red spoke.
Phone call. Satoshi.
Red, answer the phone. The computer turned on and activated a window. Satoshi appeared on the screen, smiling at him. Father, how's the truck? She's doing great in this storm. Kenichi leaned forward to see past the windshield. It's bad, isn't it? Yeah. I can't see ahead. Daigo and I are coming to a truck stop soon. We're going to stop there for the night. Okay, Satoshi nodded. Listen, Dad, I have something to tell you. Kenichi smiled. Going to be a grandfather? How did you know? What? Kenichi turned to the screen. I was just joking. Father, the road! Oh. Kenichi looked up at the bridge as the trucks were approaching it. Satoshi rubbed the back of his head. Miko found out this afternoon. You're both just 22. You're not even married yet. You're both still in college. I know, Father. Well, you and Mother. Kenichi sighed. Don't worry about it. It's done. What's important is that I take you both out for dinner and celebrate my new grandchild. Father. Thank Ken! Daigo called out from the radio. Watch out for that white truck! A pair of lights from Kenichi's right side blinded him, and the impact pushed him to the left. He lost control. The tires glided over the wet road.
Warning!
Red said.
Hydroplaning!
The edge of the bridge appeared out of the darkness within the torrential rain. The truck crashed through the barrier and flew off the bridge. Father! Ken! The truck slammed into the water. It submerged. Kenichi's head struck the steering wheel upon impact. His eyes closed while Satoshi cried for him in tears before the monitor turned off and the phone signal was lost. Satoshi. The last thing he remembered was lightning stretching out like fingers grabbing the truck. It blocked out the water from filling the cab. Memories of Fumiko in his arms, looking out at the fireworks above, flashed. Then he cheered a young Satoshi on as he hit a ball into left field. Finally, he took a picture of Ichigo at the science fair in middle school. He dreamed of his son standing beside a bed with his wife Rumiko resting on it. Months had passed. She received flowers from Ichigo. They all had smiles as Satoshi turned around revealing his newborn son. My grandson. The dream became enveloped in white light. Date unknown. Kenichi's tear slid down his cheek. He opened his eyes and found his smartphone connected to the computer console. Confused, everything was dry and not underwater. A tingling sensation slid throughout his body. The arms looked strange. The skin was smooth. There was no sign of old age on his hands. Surveying the truck, everything was fine. Red! Camera! Kenichi covered his mouth. His voice sounded young. The heart raced as he looked to his left at the side view mirror. The hair was completely pitch black, no signs of gray. The face lacked wrinkles. He pressed his fingers on his cheek. It was real. Red spoke.
Camera activated.
Kenichi pressed the screen. He switched the camera settings so it would face him. The image was clear. A young face again. It was hard to tell how much younger he got, but it was an adult body. The fingers curled, lacking any tension or pain. The arm muscles flexed. They were stronger than ever before. How is this possible? Red, current location.
Location unknown,
Red said, without appearing on screen as Kenichi scanned the area outside the truck. It was some kind of forest, but the trees had no leaves on the branches. They were black and like dirt. Light fog enveloped along the ground with fair visibility ahead. The sky was blocked by thick fog above. It was like a ceiling. Red, GPS.
no signal,
Call Satoshi.
no signal,
Call office.
no signal.
Kenichi grabbed the microphone and flipped the switch to speak. Dispatch, this is Kenichi Yamamura. Come in. There was no reply. I repeat, this is Yamamura. Come in. Static blared, and he adjusted the channel frequency around 12. It was muted. Daigo? Daigo! Respond. Where are you? No response. Kenichi went through every channel on the CB radio. There was no reply and lots of static. I must be in a dead zone. Kenichi leaned back, taking a deep breath. His eyes winced, and he did not know why. Opening the sleeper cab curtain to reach for a carry-on bag, something bright on the floor caught his attention. It was a yellow quill, with no feathers attached. He slid his fingers over it and felt a static shock. The tingling in his fingers was the same as when he woke up. A tap on the tip poked his finger and a drop of blood seeped out. The pain registered as Fumiko's necklace, hanging on the hook, rocked aside. No, I bled. He looked inside the sleeper cab and found his belongings thrown all over the place. Entering inside the cab, nothing appears damaged, and his toolbox was still secured in the low-level compartment. Lifting his head up, he bumped into a piece of clothing hanging off the side. His eyes widened. It was a hoodie that had cat ears sewed on the hood. Ichigo. Kenichi took it and held onto it. His eyes tracked back to the necklace, with his heart racing as he thought about Satoshi and Ichigo, and the grandson he would never meet. He sat back down on the driver's seat, remembering Ichigo asking in a text if her hoodie was in the truck. She was right, and he never replied back. The last words he heard from Satoshi, seeing his son on screen for the last time, broke him down. Pressing the hoodie to his chest, his tears fell. With a roar, he pounded on the steering wheel over and over. After gripping the wheel and letting out a deep breath, his eyes winced. Kenichi turned to the door window and found something strange outside. He wiped his tears with his daughter's hoodie and paused. Realizing what he did, he folded it and placed it on the passenger seat. His fingers slid across it as his expression changed. The door opened. Kenichi climbed down. His feet touched the ground and black dust plumed around his sneakers. He heard himself breathing and realized there was no sound in the area. There was no wind. A shiver from the eeriness lit up his body. The rain clouds above were past the fog ceiling, though it was daytime. Kenichi walked toward the tree. It was truly black like the dirt. The branches bent over as though fire melted it down. It was like fine powder when touched. On the branch was a perched bird with wings spread open. Like the tree, it was made of dirt, yet frozen in time. To his right, there was a mound. He could not tell if it was a deer or if those were legs and arms. Where he assumed was the head was an opening like a mouth in pain. The first thought that came to his mind. It's like Mount Vesuvius. The sound of thunder alerted Kenichi of the coming storm. His memories of his last moment before the crash flashed before his eyes. He ran back to the truck and climbed inside. The rain fell. Kenichi was about to turn the ignition when the raindrops blinded his view past the windshield. It did not take long before it became torrential. The drive would be difficult. He wondered. Red, dashcam video.
Accessing dashcam video.
The file window appeared. Kenichi scrolled through the video list with his fingers and found the last recording. He tapped to play. The night rain was blinding to the camera as well. Fast forwarding to the end, unaware of the movement outside in the rain, the video played the moment when he heard Daigo over the radio. Watch out for the white truck! Kenichi rewound the video as black mud slid up along the window. Kenichi paused and zoomed in. A white truck swerved towards him from the other side of the highway. What? There was a slap outside. In the rain was a hand on the hood of the truck. A lump rose up. It had hollowed eye sockets and a nose formed. A pair of lumps stretched out from the top of the head. A mouth opened. It let out a moan. Kenichi turned the ignition. The mud creature pressed onto the windshield, forming a hand. He shifted gears and stepped on the gas pedal. The truck drove through the trees. Balls of mud landed on the hood. Wings stretched out, struggling to flap as the mud monster slapped its hand on the windshield again. Kenichi turned the windshield wipers on and pushed it aside. After shifting gears again, all the mud creatures slid off onto the ground. Kenichi did his best to avoid the trees, but the density of the forest caused the truck to ram into each tree. They splashed like water and splattered across the ground. Kenichi tried to get a sense of direction. He turned to his smartphone. Red. Compass.
Compass activated.
The screen showed the compass pointing east. The truck rolled over the large roots, crushing them into paste. There were huge mounds of mud rising up ahead of him. They took shape. Four-legged creatures as tall as the truck itself and as small as sheep lumbered around as if nothing had happened to them. The loud moans overpowered the sound of the truck. There was a lake forming ahead. It was taking the shape of a bog. A wave of water and mud coming from the left would block his path. He shifted gears, unaware of Red tracking his speed. With a loud roar, Kenichi pushed the accelerator down. Something pushed the incoming wave. The creature emerged larger than a warehouse. It had wings and a snout. It stretched out its mud mouth, exposing sharp teeth made of mud. A long tail reached above the trees. A dragon? Kenichi shifted gears again. The speed increased as the mud tsunami and monster were about to wash the truck away. I'll chance it. Red, ramming speed. Red appeared on the screen without Kenichi noticing and raised her right arm up. In the palm of her hand, two circles appeared on the smartphone screen, one inside the other with a red square and one red diamond intersecting each other. She spoke in Spanish.
Velocidad.
Air spread across the hood. Kenichi's heart raced and thought the truck exploded. It formed a pair of ram horns instead, and the wind it created spread over the truck. It was a slipstream. The tidal wave and the giant mud creature enveloped the truck. Kenichi awed at the howling wind acting like a tunnel pushing the mud aside. The truck broke through the tsunami. The mud-like forest passed by at a high speed. Within seconds, green grass appeared around him. He slammed the brakes and the truck slid for a while. The tires rolled over the fresh green grass. It drifted to the side like a sports car and came to a full stop. In the side view mirror, a giant creature raised its head above the trees. His heart pounded at the sight of such a monster. Taking deep breaths, despite his eyes wincing from pain, he surveyed the entire area. The mud forest went alongside the grassy hills for miles. The rain passed, and the sunlight caught his attention. The rays of light pierced the opening of the clouds. They created spotlights. Eastward was a mountain range. The tallest peak disappeared in the sky. One of the cloud openings passed by that peak, and something flew within it. His hands shook. The flying creature was yellow like the sun with feathered wings, a body as long as a snake, and the head shaped like a crane. The flying creature made its way over the mountain range, and the world turned white. Kenichi heard the sound of growling. He opened his eyes and stared at Emma. She sat on top of him with her unsheathed knife to his neck. If he moved, it would slice him. The knife pressed further onto his skin when he attempted to shift his head. They locked eyes, challenging each other to make a move.
Who are you?
Emma's deep voice froze Kenichi in place. His eyes widened when he recognized that tone in her voice.
Why are you disguised as my husband?
Kenichi blinked twice. Eh? His eyes directed over to Colt and Renee, both frozen in shock. He turned back to Emma as she gave him that killer stare with tears building up. The familiarity of the growl, the facial expression, and stare shook him to his core. Eh? To be continued.